sorry, but it's one of the whole, I call them kids. These kids are doing such a fantastic job. I mean, I love it.
It's humbling, especially as a person who was such a fan of the original Thundercats. Like, to even be able to say I'm on the same project with you, but then having to hang out with you at Comic-Con and this event, stuff like that. And hopefully more coming up. I think
I hope so.
It's a childhood dream come true.
I can just stay alive.
I don't think you have a choice. They'll hook you up to machines and tubes and keep you going as long as you can.
Put a quarter in and bring you back to life.
There you go.
Hi, Celeste.
Well, hello.
It's Celesta. I know.
Oh, yeah,
I run out of breath.
Okay, we're ready to start. Anybody have cell phones on? Please turn them off or vibrate. And
not us, dummy. We're stars.
yes, that includes you guys.
We're celebrities.
And we're going to start out with closed questions for the panel. I'll be able to give you open audience questions near the end. We'll go from there. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is about your character's developing story arc that you found interesting? How did you approach the project?
Oh, well, when I first read for Tigra, they had a very, very brief breakdown for the character. You know, he's a little arrogant and perfectionist. I know. Well, like I said, I was like, okay, I'll give a hint of that. And then when they sent me the first script, I was like, wow, he's a dick. But it was interesting too, because the original series, I really liked Tiger. It was a very different personality, and so seeing the change they made, for me, it's hard for me to even think of him as two different characters, definitely. But I really enjoyed what they did with it because it gave me more room to work and have fun, and really hyped up the dynamic between him and Lionel. So the more they developed the arc, and it even progresses through the series from what's aired so far, it made him a lot more fun and a lot more interesting to play than I thought it would be when I originally began the series. I'm excited whenever each script comes because it's like, ooh, how twisted is this relationship going to get this time?
Well, it's interesting because Peter Newman, who was Lionel on the original series, and I have very similar voices. And that was before we knew they were two. That was a shock, by the way. When I found out, they said, you're playing Claudius, who is the father of Lionel and Tigra. I went, I want to see that family tree, you know? There's some interspecies things going on there because, you know, one's a tiger, one's a... You know what I mean. Anyway, let's not get into that. But Peter and I have very similar voices, and so we had to, you know, kind of between the two of us, you know, you go high, I'll go low, almost, you know, like you're plotting a football play or something. But fortunately, Lionel, at the beginning of the original, was younger. And what made me think of that was, well, Matthew, when you said how cocky Tiger was, Lionel at the time was the opposite, because he was still a little in awe of having to lead the whole group, and he did not feel terribly confident. So I could make him a little more, I don't know, Snarf, if I can do this, you know. And then later he became, I can do this, no problem. But that's how we kind of developed. Originally, just basically our first goal was to make the two voices sound disparate enough that when you heard one and didn't see who was talking, you would know which one it was.
Now, on King Claudius, what was the approach that you had on that?
Well, it's very easy. I've gotten older and my voice has gotten more gravelly. So, you know, when I try to do lines, you know, seriously, because this is very gravelly because I've been doing interviews and, you know, I get the Comic-Cons.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
I love this one because it's smaller and confined to just, you know, people, fans of a certain genre.
More personal, harder to get grabbed.
Great, you have more time to talk to the fans. I missed what you said.
Oh, it's for the best. Go ahead.
I was stepping on somebody's line again. But as you know, like Comic-Con is amazing. I had never been to one until this year. But I'm going to try to figure out how to say this so it doesn't sound like we have to work too hard. But you do when you do the press interviews. They put you in a room like, I'll never forget the first time Warner Brothers asked me in San Francisco, they asked me to do a panel of, they're going to some interviews. I said, fine. So I came in a room like this one. There were lots of people in the room, but I didn't realize they were all there, you know, with cameras and film crews. So I did about 5. You go to one, and you go to the next one, they ask you the same question. Next one, same questions. And then I got to the end over here, and I said, thank you all. And Winston Cito from Warner Brothers says, oh, there, we go all the way around the room. So I forget what the original question was, but don't get old, it's a bitch. but people expect less of you. It's less pressure on you. They say, oh, Larry, don't. He might forget things, don't worry about it. But there are good things about that. I mean, you're always meeting new friends. You can hide your own Easter eggs. Yeah, doing Claudius, I was serious to some extent in that Lion-O was my voice, basically, as Tiger is Matthew's voice. Now, of course, when I'm sitting here just talking to you, I would say, sort of omens, come to my hand, I am Lion-O commanded. When you're acting, it's omens, come to my hand, it's dramatic. But basically, Lion-O was my voice, as Tiger is Matthew's voice. And now Claudius is my voice, and my natural voice has aged. So it's not really acting. It's just anybody can do it, but they don't know that.
They do now.
Well, I'm dead anyway, so
Okay, working with Matthew, have you had any negative responses from fans about Tiger?
Before the series began, everyone was like, outfit's different, and he's now, Lionel's brother, and he has a gun. You ruined the character. And I'm like, you haven't watched it yet. And I'm just doing this voice. I can't change that. I'm sorry. Like, I actually got people writing up my website and sending me fan mail. I'm sorry to bother you, sir, but what have you done? That kind of, and I just kept saying, hang on, give it a chance. I know, when I first read, saw the original designs, as a fan of the show as a kid, I was like, am I going to be part of ruining my childhood? I don't know. But thankfully the show ended up being amazing, and just it gets better and better with each episode. So, every time I get that little bit of, how do you feel destroying my childhood? And I'm like, it's not, give it a shot. I haven't actually watched the show yet. I'm like, well, there's your problem.
So now that they have?
It's been overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, I've getting a lot of people sending hard. Oh. Go tell your friends to watch it. It must go on.
I remember first hearing that they were doing the new series. For a couple of years, Warner Brothers talked about feature film, and then all of a sudden, my agent called and said they're doing a series, and they called it. And I remember thinking, after I said, first show me the scripts. I want to see the characters. I'm not going to do anything that the original fans are going to, this sucks. I don't want to be a part of it. And I immediately became clear after talking to Jim and the guys at Warner Brothers, because they all grew up big fans of all the writers, the directors, and I don't know about the animators, but I'm sure they did. But I remembered thinking, I'm glad I'm not, I've been there with this series, so I know what it's like. But for you guys, I was thinking, it'd be tough because you're stepping in what you just talked about. And there are lots of people like this out there thinking, all right, let's see what you got. And that's going to be fun to have that, of course, because we came out of the blue. And everybody says, well, he's the perfect line, though. Well, because... yeah, he's the perfect line. Well, that's the standard.
Yeah.
But you certainly met it, and I think surpassed it.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I distinctly recall when we went in to record the first episode, Will Friedle is the voice of Lion-O in the new series, walks over and we all chat for a little bit. He's like, so how many episodes are going to come out before the fans come and kill me, do you think?
No.
I said, I don't know. Depends on how well you do in the booth today, buddy. He's done a fantastic job.
He's great. I haven't met him.
Oh, we'll find a way.
I want to do it. He will email me the nicest email. Just telling me how much it meant to him to be doing that. And I said, think back to him. And I've forgotten again. I swear to God. It's kind of fun. It's like a little vacation. You take like I call them senior vacations. Because for that 2 or 3 seconds, I know you're all sitting there going, oh God, is he all right? But I'm off somewhere. I'm like on a beach, Oh, sorry, what? He does a great job. He sent me a very nice email. Oh, I remember what I wrote. I said, I hope we get the chance to work together or meet somewhere. And I said, I want you to know I love your Lionel. You've made him a little cockier, a bit of a smartass, like I always thought he should be anyway. And that was the story. That's it. It's just, they can't all be great answers, okay? That's why they have highlight shows. Like, here are some highlights of the That wasn't one of them. That won't be on the reel.
No, it'll be on YouTube.
It'll be on YouTube, yeah.
Okay, Matthew.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite episode from the original series and the new series?
Oh, the original series. I mean, Exodus, like the beginning was just so epic. It was so. That was what originally just threw me into the series as a kid. Out of personal interest, even before I was involved with the new Thundercats, the Garden of Delight episode with Tigra, little freaky dicky.
I'm glad you finished that sentence. Because I was thinking, I don't remember him getting a little.
Which continues into the new series. But no, like those are some of my favorites in particular. In the new series that have aired, I'm a huge fan of Legacy, even though I'm not even in that one. But Legacy has the whole backstory to like Mumra and the Thundercats and their involvement back in the history of Thundera, and then actually has like hidden Easter eggs. For those who haven't seen it, they have like other characters from that childhood era showing up in the same universe. Like Monstar, No, exactly. I wasn't there for the recording, and I didn't see any of the original artwork, so I didn't watch that episode until it aired. And then I was watching it with my girlfriend Marisha, and we're just like, that was Monstar. Are we gonna fight him later on? That's gonna suck. But that one was fantastic. I do have a couple of really favorite episodes that haven't aired yet, about mid-season, and they're pretty cool.
That's all he can say, or they'll kill him. Warner Brothers, they'll kill us.
No,
no, I'm serious.
The first day we went in to record, they patted us on the back, and we felt this. And it's like, oh, it's just the chip we implanted. Don't worry about it. They can remotely detonate it.
So you saw Monstar in that too, because I thought I was having an acid flashback. Well, I'm from the '60s.
I'm not discounting that either, but
I think it could. The two are not mutually exclusive. It could have been both.
Maybe you were actually watching it, so could very well have been.
Interestingly enough, I can't buy these through the mail. You got to go and have them fitted. Exodus is my favorite one too. I think probably because it's the first episode, and we were so excited to start playing back then, back in 1927, and it was all black and white then. Did you know that the original was no? And it wasn't on TV. You would buy a flip book, and there's Lionel. But yeah, Exodus I think is interesting because I don't think I could ever have a favorite episode that I wasn't in. That's just my ego.
Well, that's good. Okay, Matthew, if you were doing this, what other field would you be working in?
Street performer? No, interests from this entertainment industry would be more like, if it was a voice actor, I'd be doing film and writing. I do a lot of writing as well, so I have different elements, but it's all entertainment related. If it had to be outside of the entertainment industry, I'd probably like to be a teacher. I love teaching. I love the idea of influencing and shaping the minds of today's youth to become better people, and because I feel there's a lot of that teacher student that's going to sound awful. Intimacy, not the way you think, but like, but I feel that there's a disconnect between the way teachers and students interact these days, and I would like to try and bring a little bit more of that back to the classroom. And, yeah.
Well, teachers are the true superheroes.
Yeah. Definitely.
But in a way, you will be shaping young people's minds, because people have told me that our show was so huge in their lives, helping them, especially to go to Thunder and things like that.
It shaped mine.
Yeah. Are you going to ask me the same question? Ask it the same way, because I have a funny answer. This is great. I get such a kick out of myself. No, ask me.
So if you were working in this field, what would you be doing?
Working in a field. Picking strawberries. It's funny. I'm proud of myself. I'm like, next SuperCon, I'm already that down. I'm telling the moderator, ask me what I would be doing. I have no idea. I started in radio 15 years old. It's a disc jockey. And did little funny voices and characters on my show and stuff. And I was class clown, believe it or not. I've always kind of had the need to entertain people, and the need, look at me, how funny am I? In fact, I often think back, I wish I had a nickel. I do have a nickel for every teacher who said to me at some point or other, Mr. Kenney, I hope when you grow up you find a way to make a living from your little voices and your jokes. I did. But you are, through this show, shaping moments. And there's more money than the teaching.
Well, it depends. Depends on if the show continues.
Oh, it will. It will. Won't it?
So fantastic.
Yes.
But it's all up to you guys,
We're all canceled cartoon.
That's right. We can threaten them. We have the weapons. We have Mumra.
Now, in recording your voices, it's like, how difficult is it to lip flap?
Lip flap. I like that.
Versus
lip flap.
Straight recording from the radio for radio.
I began my voiceover career in Japanese animation, so I have a lot of experience with lip flap before this.
Thank you, Suwato.
I will say it's much more difficult and technical to follow lip flap, which we do for ADR on episodes when they come back with animation and there have been changes made to the script, or they need to do additional lines that were added in hindsight, and it's layering, both focusing on the performance and the character's drive and that everything, and then layering on top of that very, very technical aspect of matching timing and beats and the way the mouth is moving. So it's more difficult. I find it personally a lot more freeing to doing original prelay animation, where it's all based on your performance. You can have the flexibility to deliver it however you feel it's meant to be delivered, and it just feels more pure and more interesting. So both processes, but following lip flap is definitely much more technical and not quite as freeing.
I laugh because I never heard the expression lip flap. No, I'm serious. Lip sync, we call it.
Yeah.
Is that the new expression, lip flap?
It can be. There are multiple expressions.
I thought I laughed because I thought that how cute it was that you were saying when you said lip flapping.
Oh. No, it was like lip flap / syncing.
Yeah, okay, good.
Or it was for both of you. I wasn't sure if you also had to
We
deal
did,
with that.
well, very rarely did we what we called lip syncing then. We always recorded as animation. I assume it's still the same. You guys do the voices first, and then they animate to the voices.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. It's very difficult the other way. Almost not impossible, but it's so time-consuming. You record the voices first, and then the animators animate to the voice. If you do it the other way around, it's already animated. First of all, you lose you alluded to you lose the ability to if your vocal acting has to match however it's animated in terms of, your gestures and things. It's very limiting for you, but when you do the acting part first, the amount of rage you have, how quietly you're speaking and whatever you're doing, then they can animate to those emotions. It's also, we always work together. You guys all work, people have asked me that, because when I come out, unfortunately I work alone, I don't get a chance to meet you guys, but I saw your microphones all lined up the way ours work. So you're all there and you're working, but occasionally, let's say something from a show that's hasn't gone on the air yet it's been animated, but a line changed for whatever reason, legal reasons,
or sometimes it comes back and you deliver the line very much like, all right, Lino, I got this, and the animation comes back and you're like 2 miles apart. And you're like, I want to make it a little louder.
Sometimes it was even grunts and groans. We need more in there.
What cartoon does that?
I used to tell him, just go get an X-rated movie and take sound effects. But
he's done a lot of those, so it's easy.
You've seen them, have you?
I tortured them.
No big thing.
Matthew, I know that you like writing. Do you have any interest in writing a book?
Writing a book? I grew up reading a lot of fiction, a lot of like sci-fi and fantasy fiction, Isaac Asimov, Piers Anthony. I don't know if I have the writing style for full-on books, per se. My interest is more towards screenwriting, writing for animation or writing for film. And I'm actually in the process of writing together a couple of spec scripts for the new Thundercats. I don't know if, we'll see if they like them or not, but I'm as part of my writing interest, I would like to be part of that as well. I know Will Friedle, who does the voice of Lino, has actually co-written and written a few episodes. So it's kind of nice to have some cast interaction as well, so do have a writing disposition to be possibly given a chance to be part of the creative process.
Wow.
So.
They wouldn't even let me write notes in the margins of my script. It was, Larry, read the words.
Larry, for the new series episodes, especially the first episode, there was a sword duel between father and son. Who wins in the sword duel between Larry Kenney and Will Friedle?
Well, Larry Kenney is 64 years old. Willie's 11. I would actually bet on Will. Yeah.
Thoughts? Matthew?
No comment.
Smart. You'll be writing books.
Okay, this is for both of you. Have you seen the toy line, and if the original for comparison, which one is?
People always ask. Now listen, can I just give you a little hint?
Yes.
Buy boxes of these. Open them and keep them. Because 30 years from now, you're going to be sitting here saying, I forgot the question. But I have boxes of toys beside it. So I don't have to, I pay people to remind me, to remember for me. We didn't, my son asks me all the time, he's 23 and a Republican, so he just wants all the money in the world. He says, Dad, these toys, $50 for the thing, and if you could sign it, it'd be worth $52. Why didn't you? Well, who knew we were going to,
I will learn from your mistake.
Yes, my sensei. I get 10%.
We'll talk.
I think the new figures are great, though. And you know what? I did it in San Diego. I did a 2-hour signing for Bandai. And people were bringing the box after box of the new Lionel. And then somebody brought one, I think, is that the classic? Oh. They also made a new classic Lionel that people were bringing me to sign. I thought, well, that's nice. They did an homage to, the old Lionel, too. I think they're great. The old ones they look like they're 30 years old. Wow, that's a huge one.
Thank you.
I hadn't seen that one. That's incredible.
That's the exclusive they were having. They had it coming out, wasn't it?
This isn't the exclusive. This was
That's the mascot statue. Yeah.
I remember, I like telling the story of, do I have to I'll make it quick. People are always asking, when did you know that the show was a big hit back then, Well, first of all, we started recording in '83, didn't go on until '85. Now it's been on a year. You hear from the people that because we went on to do Silverhawks, Tigers, all of us with the same director, Lee Doniger. So we worked together a lot. Then we did 6 Rankin Bass Christmas specials, A Star for Jeremy, 12 Days of Christmas, Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. So my point is, for 4 years, we were all working together a lot, And I remember so we're getting feedback now. The shows, the ratings are good, great. And I remember it was about 2 weeks before Christmas, probably in '86. I walked into Toys R Us to do some Christmas shopping, and it's like there was music. There were 3 aisles of nothing but Thundercats toys. And I thought, this thing's huge. Because last week it was Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Now they get the Ninja Turtles, whatever, you know. And I'll never forget, as I'm walking down the aisles looking at all this stuff, there are 2 boys, maybe 10, 12, and I could overhear them as I walk by. And one of them says, I'm going to get Panthro. He's the coolest. And the kid says, I don't know, I might get one of the mutants. So just, you know, me, I go over and I say, why don't you get Lion-O? He's the one who says, Thundercats, ho! Thinking they'd be thrilled. And of course they look at me like, move on, perv. Now, as I'm walking away, I'm kind of chuckling myself, and I heard one say to the other, he didn't even sound like Lion-O. And I stopped in my tracks and I'm laughing. I had to actually force myself not to turn around and say, you little shit. If you only knew, you'd crap your pants. I thought it was so funny. He didn't even sound like Lion-O. To this day, I've thought if that kid knew Lion-O just said that to him, I mean, you know, but he never will. It's a great story. I hope it's true. I don't remember if it's actually. I'm pretty sure it's true. But you can't make that kind of stuff.
Okay, this is the time we'll be opening questions for the audience, for the guests.
My question is for Matthew. You said that you started Japanese animation. How did you kind of get into that and then cross over to voiceover work here in the U.S.?
Well, the voiceover animation was recorded in the U.S. for the Japanese animation when they brought it over to English.
Okay.
So I was still home. I've not yet to go to Japan yet. I want to go badly. That sounds like a really cool.
It's great over
But that's what I hear. It's in, you know, drunken karaoke. Woo.
Come by!
Exactly. I mean, when I'm father.
You'll never be old enough. Why can't you be more like your brother? Until next season.
No, I began doing Japanese animation shortly out of high school through some just strange coincidences and meeting friends and getting to meet a director who said, like, I like your voice. You ever thought about doing this? Going in and doing background voices in Walla for Fist of the North Stars, like, 3 hours exploding, things like that. And then just transitioned over into video game voiceover through that. Got an agent, began really in the pavement hard, like you got to do as an actor in Los Angeles, and just kept getting more work. Then started moving over into animation. And actually, Thundercats is my first major American animation project I've had a lead character in. And it's a dream come true.
My question is for both of you guys. I absolutely love this show. I told Larry this yesterday. It's like, it just took everything I love about the original Thundercats and just made it like a longer take, edgier, and I just love it. It does need a kick-ass theme song from the 80s, so I miss that.
Yeah, we all miss that a little bit. Yeah.
How did it feel like, it's for both you guys, like, it was really great having you in the first episode. It was a passing of the torch, with fabulous and everything. Like,
I thought it was a nice touch for Warner Brothers to do an homage. It was for the fans, I think it was Warner Brothers saying, don't worry. It's going to be, the old show that you love.
Like, how did it feel to, that episode when Claudius, is fighting off, Momo, like, how did it feel, emotionally, because that was a very emotional scene, too, and it came back in, the flashback episodes.
Yeah.
How's it been, Matthew and Larry, the passing of the torch filming of the new Thundercats, how does it feel it was a really great homage to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. Well, it's art imitating life or the other way around, because I actually was passing the sword on, not just to Lion-O, but it was I took it upon myself to feel as though for the rest of my friends, the rest of our original cast, we were to you guys. Take it and do well with it. It's funny, I remember when they flew me out here to record the Warner Brothers, that scene where Claudius dies. Well, of course, I had read the script and I knew what was going on, but Andrea, our wonderful director, she reminds me so much of Lee Doneker. She works in the same way that she's just so good. She'll say, okay, that was good, that was very good. Let's go to line 86. Up until this point, I had, this and that, and then there were battle scenes, right? And I knew what was coming, of course. She says, now Larry, line 82, just, okay, stronger grunts, and now you're swinging thing. Okay, fine. Now, line 86, and I knew that was the line where it's over. And I could feel her, hear her kind of just, she was a little hesitant. She says, okay, now Larry, and she's in the other room through the glass. Okay, Larry, now in this one, you're stabbed in the back. And just to mess with her, I said, oh, okay, so I'm stabbed in the back, but I survived. And I see the engineer go, and poor Andrea, she's like, she says, no. Okay. Thank you. Put her face forward thing. I survived, right?
From my perspective, well, as soon as I learned that I was going to be part of the project, I went into storage and dug out my old Tigra action figure that I'd forgotten that I had, and so put that on my desk as like a reminder of what was coming up. And so I read the script and everything. And
I thought maybe you held him up while you were talking.
That's more of my own. How do you know about that? But so we went in to record for the first time, and it was interesting to watch us all establish the personalities as during the first word. Because all of us read the script, but we weren't quite sure how each of us are going to be performing it. And I believe you had already recorded for the first episode when we got in there, because we were able to hear your dialogue to play off of. And when we got to that scene with Will, I remember it just got really somber and intense, and we all began to realize the weight that the series was really going to carry with it. Because as much as you read a good script, it isn't until you hear the actual performance that you realize that the gravity of how this is going to affect the children that watch it. And it was that moment we realized like we had something really, really in our hands. The way that Will played off of your lines, and then especially when it came back for ADR and seeing the final scene animated, it was like, this is going to be intense.
Andrea told me that the next time I came out, she said that Will, the first time he was supposed to say in the script, for the first time ever, thunder, she said he went, hang on a second.
Yeah.
And she said, I knew he was like, this has got to be right.
It was watching him go weak at the knees.
Yeah.
It was like I can't do it. And then Kevin Richardson, who just the voice of Panther, was off to the side of me going, say it! Say it! I want to hear you say it! And he finally says it, and we're all like, I need a cigarette. Yeah. It was a culmination. It was a wondrous culmination at that
That's
point.
funny.
Yeah.
You're the moderator. To get on line, throw them out.
For Matt, in Movie Brawl, is that all you as Kirby Lecter? Is that all your voice?
Yes, that for those who aren't familiar, I directed and produced a web series a few years ago called There Will Be Brawl. It's a live-action film noir kind of adult crime drama. It takes place in the Nintendo, so it's like all Nintendo characters, but they're all very dark and very like HBO, adult, messed up, twisted characters. But yeah, I voiced Kirby throughout the entire series, and he was a very interesting, liberal sort of character. So yeah, cool. But let's see, there's some fans of the series in here.
Question. The original had a feel and moral sense versus the new one, which is good, don't get me wrong. They're both excellent shows. Mm. You even pointed out the gun with Tiger. You know, the original, they carry defensive weapons.
Exactly, had a whip, didn't he? Had a whip in the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the exception of which carried a dagger, which turned into a sword, broadsword. the tiger on the new one carries a gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a fan and just as watching a program, I have an issue with that because it is playing towards kids, and Tiger's carrying a gun now. He carries a whip, but he's also carrying a pistol, and that right there, that really separates. And I think that's the point. But as a society, it's kind of that at one point we were playing. Okay, we got these morals, and you know, okay, we use a sword, and they even told Lionel, back off with that sword. You know, just go in there and do your thing. And they always had Jaga was always telling his mentor, saying, you know, hey, you shouldn't use it for this and that. Whereas this new Lionel just lights it up and just starts slicing. I mean, it is, again, as a society, we've grown and changed.
Man in Arms had a gun.
What's that?
Man in Arms had a gun.
Another show.
All right, let's don't get any fights started here. Every time you talk about violence, it gets violent. I don't know why that is.
It's okay.
The point I'm trying to make is, how do you feel? Because you do have a very important role being the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're writing it for you, and you have to act it. But you personally, what's your take?
Personally, as a kid, I was raised by parents that wouldn't let me own toy guns. I was allowed to play swords up the wazoo, so I just fell into my high fantasy, love growing up. I was like, swords and sorcery, magic, yeah. But I was never allowed to own a gun of any kind of toy sort. Water guns were like, well, it's bright orange and has a happy face on it, maybe. So it at first when they showed me the art and the designs for the character and the new, that's different. But also I think it plays an interesting aspect for the character. While everyone else has, for the most part, it's an energy pistol, and it doesn't see anyone's head explode or anything. But still, the symbol, I understand what you're saying. I think it's an interesting variation of the fact that Tigra, especially in the new series, is very different from the other Thundercats. His personality is a little darker. He comes from a darker place, a place of rejection from both his, he feels rejected from his family, and kind of been living in the shadow of his brother. And I think this little addition to him gave him this sort of, as the darker character, he's falling more towards the technological side anyway, that Mama represents, and that's kind of he's, the line that he's writing as a character. So I think symbolically, I don't think it's so much promoting the use of guns as a character more than it's showing that the tech pistol that he uses shows that he's leaning a little closer to that dark side, the bad guy's side, than the other characters, and so I was the sign of the times too. Exactly. I mean, if he was like, loading up a 6-shooter with like bullets and like, I'm going to take out Mama on the forehead, I'd be like, I don't know if I'm recording this. But also, the first few episodes were a bit pistol heavy, as Tiger was really happy to have his new gun. He's like, oh, this thing is cool, I'm going to shoot everything in front. Now they're doing more of a pistol whip combination, almost like a Indiana Jones sort of Devil May Cry style of like stylized, using them both, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that was a little bit of a concern at the beginning, but I think they're playing it in a way that's not too overtly, Thundercats Extreme.
Wow, that was a great answer. I think you actually won this guy over.
We shall see.
That was a very good answer.
My name is Larry. According to the original series, do you have any particular fond memories of Earl Hammond at all?
Oh, yes. Earl Hammond, Mum Ra, rest his soul. Earl Hammond, rest his soul. Mum Ra, never living.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is that would become Mum Ra to the extent that
He brought a costume.
he actually brought it. No, that's what he did. But you know how Mum Ra drools this green. When Earl did the thing, we would, people would be looking ahead, when's his next big ancient spirits of evil coming up? Oh, here. And people would start moving toward the side of the room. Because he would go, ancient spirits of evil! And he would start drooling. And he would wipe it and he'd transform the speaking right, the spit.
It's like a Gallagher concert with a splash zone.
I never knew if he did it on purpose or it just happened. He would be literally transform, and sometimes he would go transform. Did I get you? He was a wonderful man. Funny guy. And Bob McFadden has passed. Snarf.
Larry,
Wonderful.
what have you done since Transformers that you particularly liked?
I never did Transformers.
I'm sorry.
That's I know what you mean.
Thundercats,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
that I particularly liked. Well, I just love working and being in the business. We did Silverhawks, we did Tiger Sharks, we did Comic Strip, which was 2 hours every Saturday morning, 4 shows: Karate Cat, Street Frogs, and 2 others. We did 5 or 6 Rankin Bass Christmas specials. I think I mentioned that a little while ago. And I've been the voice of Count Chocula for over 30 years. Yeah. Frightfully delicious cereal. Bob McFadden, by the way, was Frankenberry. With strawberry flavored marshmallows. And I've been sunning the Cocoa Bird for 32, 33 years. You know, up here I want to go Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs. Thank you. And I've been honored, just so lucky to do so many things. For 35 years, I was on the cast of Imus in the Morning, a radio TV show. I was Best Week Ever in VH1. It's the first week of February 2010, the best week ever! That was me. I use that voice now in Skittles commercials. I'm the guy, rainbow, taste the rainbow. I keep busy, you know. I keep busy.
Yeah.
You gotta eat. But the last of my children that I know of, well, I'm in show business, you know. You travel a lot. The last of I have 3 children, 1 of each. And my youngest son just graduated from NYU. My oldest daughter, my middle daughter graduated from Oxford. Thank you, Thundercats. Not Oxford, England. Oxford of Connecticut. So, I'm still working. I ain't gone. When he dies. Wouldn't that be? Now that would be YouTube. Like, I'm still around. Give me that tape. These Comic-Cons are such a drag. Listen to Matthew, drag Larry. Any more questions? I think we're about out of time, aren't we? Well, somebody has.
Did the creative show seek your opinion or your...
No. Oh, no. Nor did they the first time around. No, you didn't. No, because, and rightly so, because they had they had fantastic writers, as they do. Directors. These people know what they're doing. We're actors. Best just we talk. Looking back, I probably once in a while something would come up. What do you guys think should be doing? But no, mostly the script was written. You do this script. Now there were times when you might say, after you had been lying over a while, you knew they couldn't replace you. You might say, how about instead of he says, I would rather. How about if he just says, I things like that. You know, maybe Lana would say it this way. They might say, yeah, I think you're right. But nothing major. You don't say, well, I think this should be out. Or, no, I don't know how it is now. But
No, it's exactly like that. We just start
they do
turning
their
pages out.
job.
Well, no, this is the chip. Remember, we can't do anything. Yeah.
So if you even tried to say it, it would just click.
Yeah, it's a little taser. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's